So my point is, in order for us to beat the champ, we have to acknowledge who the champ is. We have to respect who the champ is. But let's take our time and, just like the Philadelphia Eagles, figure out how can we beat the champ. Does that make sense to everybody? Remember this, kingdoms rise and fall all the time. Kingdoms rise and fall all the time. I have never seen a kingdom last forever. I studied the champs. They all have two qualities. They all do the same thing. She goes, what is it? They're very entertaining and dynamic, and they give great influence. That's it. That's the formula. That's what's inside the box. I don't need to think outside the box. Because if I can become very entertaining and dynamic, if I can give our audience great information, we can be legendary. So we have to create a killer way. I'm convinced, if you want to be a champion, you got to create a killer way. And the killer way to me is everything inside the box. Let's not even think outside the box until we completely have mastered everything inside the box. You guys know why Chick-fil-A is the most financially sound franchise in the world? You guys know why? They do about $4.2 million a store. $4.2 million a store. They almost triple the income of every other franchise per location. Why? Anybody know why? They're a well-oiled machine. Their employees listen, they follow directions, and they execute, which simply means they have a clearly defined way that they have mastered. Can I ask you another rhetorical question? I don't know our name yet. Maybe we're the Brookfield way. Maybe we're the National Renewable Grid way. Well, whatever our name is.
Geronimo.
Say it again?
Geronimo.
Geronimo.
That's our old name.
Can I ask you a question? How strong is the Geronimo way on a scale of 1 to 10?
5.
5. 4. Anybody else want to add? Because right now we're operating at 4.5. So there's a lot of room to improve our way. Newsflash. I'm inside of Jersey Mike's, been there for 8 years. We were in a conference in Nashville. We've been hanging out all day visiting stores, and all of a sudden everyone hopped out the SUVs, had a little caravan of SUVs, but the leadership team stayed in the car and drove off. And I was kind of like, I felt left behind. You know how the cool kids go to the party, you didn't get invited to the party? And I was like, where are they going? So, oh man, they headed to Chick-fil-A. I was like, really? Oh yeah, oh yeah. They respect Chick-fil-A. So all of a sudden I realized, like, Jersey Mike's, on their growth cycle, had the respect of Chick-fil-A. And basically Chick-fil-A set the bar for what excellence looks like. When I was a little kid, dreaming of the NBA, you guys know who set the bar for me? Magic Johnson. You guys know who set the bar for me? Muhammad Ali. You know who set the bar for me? Champions. When I was a little kid, as an athlete, that's who set the bar for me. I want to be a champion. But first, I have to respect and honor what a champion looks like and observe how a champion operates. With all due respect in the solar industry, who's the champ? I know it's an evil empire. I know it's an evil empire, but let's not say their name. Let's not say their name. I don't want Blake to go over here and get this, have the quivers over here. But let's extract some of the principles they execute that we got to respect, right? Come on. I respect Michael Jordan. Why? He's a GOAT. So what does our champion of our industry do well? Have we studied the champion? Have we studied number one? No? We haven't watched game film on number one? Why not? That's some easy homework there.
I honestly, like, if you polled everyone here, I don't think we could even agree on who is the champion in this industry.
Is it LeBron or is it not?
Well, We shouldn't even get caught up on that, right? We can talk about who's the best, Mike or LeBron, all day. The reality is they're both great, right? And they're both different in their greatness. So maybe we take the top three. Moral of the story, we need to be observant of our industry and have a mutual respect of how they operate so that we can go and beat them. The Philadelphia Eagles just won a Super Bowl. You know what they told the world? We built this team to go and beat Kansas City. That's what they told the world. Like, no. We built this team to specifically go and beat Kansas City, which means we respect Kansas City. We studied Kansas City, but we figured out how to beat Kansas City. So the evil empire, as Blake refers to it, can't we do the same thing? Can't we observe the evil empire? Can't we show some respect to the evil empire? But can't we figure out how to go and defeat the evil empire? Remember this, kingdoms rise and fall all the time. Kingdoms rise and fall all the time. I have never seen a kingdom last forever. You guys heard of the Roman Empire? Where are they at? Where are they now? I mean, I go to Italy all the time, right? I used to play ball in Italy. I've not seen one Roman soldier. Have you guys seen a Roman soldier? There used to be the Ottoman Empire, right? I mean, think about Egypt used to have Pharaoh, right? You can go in history. Kingdoms never last forever, which means there's always going to be some movement in the kingdom. Does that make sense to everybody? In fact, Alabama football was good way back with Bear Bryant, and they went dark for a long time. Even my beloved Gophers beat them one year. I went to a bowl game. We beat Alabama. I said, man, that's pretty cool. Then they hired Nick Saban a couple of years later, and that was over. Right? So my point is, in order for us to beat the champ, we have to acknowledge who the champ is. We have to respect who the champ is. But let's take our time, and just like the Philadelphia Eagles, figure out how can we beat the champ. Does that make sense to everybody? Yep. When I came to the University of Minnesota, we had a losing streak in the Big Ten. But my coach who recruited me said, man, we're going to be a top 25 program. He's like, son, I would love for you to be a part of it, but whether you come or not, I'm building a top 25 program. And about 2 years later, the number one team in the country came in, and we beat them in Williams Arena by 15 points, beat them soundly. And that's when we believed. And honestly, initially, Coach Haskins believed, but eventually it became contagious, and he built a program. And now we're going to hire a new coach right now, Nico Medved, who came off the Clem Haskins tree, which I'm excited about because now maybe, possibly, we got a guy who understands how we operate at that level. Does that make sense? So today I want to talk about the difference between being a winner, a loser, and a champion, and really give an overview of what we want to do the next 12 months and what we need to achieve in the next 12 months. When I played for the Utah Jazz, we were the epitome of winners. We went to the playoffs every year. You can write it on the board. I mean, before the season started, you knew that the Utah Jazz were going to make the playoffs. And I got a chance to play in the Western Conference Finals. We lost to the Houston Rockets, and they had a kid named Hakeem Olajuwon. And he destroyed us. And they had a very good team, but we almost became the champion. So my rookie year, I was on the second worst team ever. My second and third year in the NBA, I played for probably the winningest team ever to never win a world championship. And Jerry Sloan only had one lottery pick his whole career. Karl Malone was not a lottery pick, neither was John Stockton. There's another lesson in there. What's that lesson? What is that lesson? Stockton was not a lottery pick, neither was Karl Malone. What's that lesson?
Hard work overcomes talent.
Close, close. What else overcomes talent?
Team.
Commitment.
You can plug, for the sake of time, I'm going to give you the answer. When you have a killer way, you can plug ordinary people into a killer way and they're going to look great. No disrespect to Carl and John. But when you have an amazing way, you can take very good people and plug them into your way and they're going to look amazing. And here's my ultimate example. Right before I went to the Utah Jazz, I was in camp with the World Championship Chicago Bulls. And the first thing they taught us, as they onboarded us, let me talk corporate, as they onboarded us into the Chicago Bulls, they taught us the way, no different than the Utah Jazz. When I was in the Dallas program, we didn't have a way. We played hard. We played basketball, but we didn't have a way. Utah had a very good way, but the Chicago Bulls had an incredible way. It was called the triangle offense. This triangle offense was custom built just for Michael Jordan. And I don't want to get too technical, but it allowed you to put the ball in your blessed player's hand without him being a point guard. That's probably way too technical if you don't follow basketball. But Michael Jordan was ordinary before Phil Jackson showed up. The veterans said Michael Jordan will never win a championship. They said he'll lead the league in scoring, he's flashy, he's a showboat, but he'll never win a championship until Phil Jackson, the young coach, said, no, give him to me. We're going to put him in this triangle offense, and that's going to be the difference. Championships, what, 6 championships later, 5 championships later? Michael Jordan seemed to go. So he went from being a young hotshot showboat who's going to lead the league in scoring, lead the league in, the dunk contest, but the veteran said he'll never win a championship. And a young coach introduced the way, and he transformed Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls into a champion. Here's what's crazy about it. Phil Jackson left the Chicago Bulls, but what did he take with him? He left the Chicago Bulls and went to the LA Lakers. What did he take with him? Did he take Michael Jordan with him? Nope. Did he take Scottie Pippen with him? Did he take Dennis Rodman with him? What did he take with him? He took his way with him.
Found Kobe too.
Yeah. He took his way, but what was Kobe doing before he showed up? So he shows up with his way. And he plugged some very good players in his way. And all of a sudden, Kobe became Kobe. All of a sudden, Shaq became Shaq. And all of a sudden, these very good players became immortal. But it had a lot to do with leadership. But it had a lot to do with the way. Michael Jordan leaves the way. He leaves a legendary coach, and he goes and plays for the Washington Wizards. How did Michael Jordan look without the way? Anybody remember? How did Michael Jordan look without Phil Jackson?
He was okay.
The GOAT. The GOAT. The GOAT. Well, he's old. Well, how old is LeBron right now? Looking pretty good. So my point is, you need all of it working for you at the same time. You guys agree? So we have to create a killer way. I'm convinced if you want to be a champion, you got to create a killer way. And the killer way to me is everything inside the box. Let's not even think outside the box until we completely have mastered everything inside the box. My wife and I built a Hall of Fame motivational speaking business on 2 priorities. I watched game film. When I started my speaking business on Coach Haskins' recommendation, we asked around who are the top speakers in the business. And I observed the champs. Tony Robbins, oh, he's good. Man. Lou Holtz, okay, he's good. Wow, John Maxwell, they're good. I got 10 of the best. I mean, these are the best. I took my time and said, wait. These are the Michael Jordans and the Muhammad Ali's of motivational speaking. Anybody else? I forget. We watched game film. And I called my wife into the office before we even began. I said, babe, we're going to do okay. She goes, how? I said, I studied game film. I studied the champs. They all have 2 qualities. They all do the same thing. She goes, what is it? They're very entertaining and dynamic, and they give great information. That's it. That's the formula. That's what's inside the box. I don't need to think outside the box, because if I can become very entertaining and dynamic, if I can give our audience great information, we can be legendary. In 3 years, guys, 36 months, we doubled our NBA income. And people say, man, what's your secret? What's your secret? I was like, I don't have a secret. What do you mean secret? We just mastered what was inside the box. And ladies and gentlemen, I had never had a real job. So when I started speaking, I was extremely entertaining and extremely dynamic. I put on a show because I had no content. And I knew it. Does that make sense, everybody? And so I'm going to entertain the hell out of you. And hopefully you won't recognize I didn't really teach you anything. And I began to read books. My parents are teachers, began to study. My wife comes from an entrepreneurial family. And I started reading books and learning the business world as we grew our own business. And all of a sudden, I was like, man, I think I know how to sell. Man, I think I know how to lead. Wow. I didn't realize it, but I'm an expert in team. We had all this content that had to be developed inside the box. Within 10 years, guys, we got inducted into the Hall of Fame for motivational speakers. Only 200 are alive in the world. and everything we did was inside the box. We did very little outside the box. Because guess what? You're hurting your team. If you're nitpicky, if you're negative, if you're critical, if you have apathy, if you're critical, if you're negative, if you create little factions, oh, he's an idiot, she's an idiot, and if you do that, unfortunately, you're a person who's having an impact on your team, but it's a negative impact. Champions expect to be number one. Champions expect to be the champ. You can accidentally be a champion. And some people have a disposition and confidence level, so they have more ability to be accountable in certain situations. Does that make sense?